Well, I'm sitting in New York City looking at investment opportunities in water. In 2011, obviously the water situation was getting worse. People recognized it, but we didn't see that people were coming up with really great solutions to the water situation. I was introduced to the concept of air to water in 2010, 2011, and we met with several companies claiming to be in the space. And what we learned is that they all had websites, but their websites really did not tell the truth. One company in particular, which will go unnamed, basically was having little machines made for them by a contract manufacturer in China. And on their website, they had a big industrial machine. We were not interested in the little machines. We didn't think that that was a good place to be. But I asked about the large machine, and they told me it was photoshopped, didn't exist. But that if I would agree to invest money in the company, they were sure their Chinese manufacturer could make the machine for us. I told them thank you and no thanks. And as luck would have it, Ravi, I've done a lot of business in northern Italy, actually in Italy. And I've become very close with the Giacomini family, which is an industrial family in northern Italy. And one of their companies is an industrial valve company. So I thought they might know something about moving and monitoring liquids and gases.
Yeah.
I reached out to them and literally told them my idea. They invited me over. I went over, met with them and their engineers for about a week, and we decided to form a company and to be partners in the company. And that's how it all started. We basically, at that point in time, we used the engineers at the valve company, as well as signing a contract with Pavia University outside of Milan. I think it's one of the oldest engineering schools in Europe, to basically do the R&D necessary to advance this technology to the next level. And as I said, we're always interested in the industrial sector as opposed to necessarily the retail or B2C sector. So we went about that R&D project, which basically took 4 or 5 years. We advanced the technology. We filed patents to protect the technology. And we learned during that development period that just because of the basic physics of our machines, the machines, for the same expenditure of energy, produce not only highest quality water for drinking and for industrial purposes, but also large volumes of hot air and cold air.
Mm.
That is the physics of our condensation process. Just to give you a sense, what we do is we draw in the ambient air, filter it from very fine filters to take out particulates, and then we condense the water down to the dew point, condense the air down to the dew point to basically produce demineralized water. And then depending on whether you want drinking water, industrial water, in the same machine, the water goes through one of two different paths. The output being really high quality drinking water or high quality industrial water with lots of different uses.
Awesome. I want to take a quick pause and actually rewind back to when you actually were looking at investments. You said you had seen a few websites. There was this photoshopped machine on there. If you even rewind a few years behind that, why were you even looking at water? I mean, were you looking at other things to invest in? Were you also looking at real estate or industrials? Why'd you end up coming to water, and then why air to water?
Yeah, my background is mostly as a lawyer. I was the chairman and CEO of a large New York law firm for many years, and had the opportunity, because our practice was focused on venture capital and private equity. We had a large stable of funds in those areas. I ended up being not just a lawyer, but an entrepreneur, investor in a lot of different companies, from software to distribution to manufacturing. And I had just sold a company where I was an early investor and chairman of the board, which was the largest legal outsourcing firm in India. It's called Pangea 3. And I was basically just looking for my next gig, as they say. And everybody was talking about water. So I started digging in, looking at the water world and came across air to water. And it just seemed to me at the time to be a natural place for investment.
Amazing. And as you were
You're
looking through
frozen,
that,
Ravi.
were there other
We don't have a great connection. Hello? There you go. Hello? Try again.
am I back now?
You're back now. I don't know what happened.
We can fix that and we can fix that in post processing, so not an issue.
Okay. Okay, great.
So the question I was about to ask, as you
Go
were
ahead.
looking through, Larry, the air to water side of things, did you look at a spectrum of water technologies that then arrived you to air to water? Like, were there other things you were looking at and those didn't make the list? How did that process work?
Actually, once I sort of came across air to water as an idea, as a concept, I pretty much focused on that and realized that I needed help. I couldn't do it alone. Money wasn't going to solve the problem. And that's when I reached out to my partners, the Giacomini's, who quite frankly have been great partners for all these years. And because of their industrial capabilities, they own several industrial companies, they were able to move our project forward with a lot more speed and accuracy, quite frankly, and approach than if it was just money that was basically going into a new company.
Sure, that totally makes sense. And so let's fast forward to this R&D process. You're with the Giacomini family in Italy.
Giacomini.
Giacomini family in Italy, and you did R&D for 5 years. In that R&D process, what is the difference in air to water technologies, and why did you select this particular process versus something else? Maybe if you can kind of explain what the world of that looks like.
Well, the world of air to water has actually changed. I would say up until a few years ago, all the companies claiming to be in the air to water space were using mechanical refrigeration or condensation technology. In more recent years, there's been a rush to what are referred to as MOFs, MOF, which stands for metallic organic frameworks. And quite frankly, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry this year was given to 3 scientists on the West Coast who actually use MOFs to make small quantities of water in the desert. And there's a company, a public company, that backed into a SPAC about 2 years ago called AirJoule. And it also uses MOF technology, but it has not yet commercialized any products. It has not validated that its technology can operate at scale, and that it has not validated that it can operate at scale at efficient energy consumption numbers. I mean, I wish them luck because I want them to succeed. And I'll tell you, Ravi, the biggest challenge we've had is that so many companies claiming to be in the air to water space have failed. Okay, so that leaves a really bad taste in the mouths of investors and even commercial customers or potential commercial customers. So we have a nascent industry, air to water. The projections are very positive for the future, but we've all had to deal with the failures of the past in order to build our businesses.